So this is going to be the first part of a series of CAD lessons on how to use Onshape. So first, what you'll want to do is, once you have a Onshape account, you'll want to go to the home page and click Create, and then Document, and then you can name the document whatever you want. I'm going to name it this right here, and then you can create the public document. This will open up a Onshape file that has a part studio down the bottom here, and then an assembly. You want to click over to the part studio because this is where you'll create parts, and assembly is where you'll assemble multiple parts together, but we'll just stick to the part studio for now. And you can see up here in the top right there's a cube. This cube, you can click on the different faces and it'll rotate, and then also by using your right mouse button you can rotate around and look at these planes here. You have the top, front, and right planes. We'll hide everything except for the top plane right now. So Onshape, it's used in order to create parts. You use sketches and then extrude them or revolve them in order to create a physical 3D object. So we're going to be creating a bracket, and this bracket, it will just be a simple bracket used to connect two extrusions together. It's very common to what's used in FTC, and it's going to be a very simple way to get a handle on how to use extrusions in order to create parts. So in order to start off, you want to create a sketch. So go over to the top left and click on this sketch button, and it'll open up this smaller area in this box right here, and it'll say select sketch plane. So you want to click on the top face, and then now you have a place where this top plane is where you're going to be creating a 2D drawing. So now you see on the top bar there's a bunch of different boxes and lines that you can use to draw with. So we'll want to click on a corner rectangle, and then click on the origin here, move our mouse out, and then click there. And then we'll want to click, and now you can see it's still highlighted gray. If it isn't highlighted gray, you want to make sure it's highlighted gray because that's when you're using it. Then you want to click on this corner and draw out and create another rectangle. So here's our general shape of the bracket. Now we want to make sure it's right size because this is just random size boxes. So we'll want to go over here, and this arrow right here is, you can see it's called dimension. That's what we use to set the size of things. So we want this right here. We can click on a line, and then it'll bring up a box where we can type in the dimension we want. So this one we want to be 15 millimeters, and it'll scale some stuff, but that's all right. And then you want this one to also be 15 millimeters, and then these long ones you want to be 37.5 millimeters, and then you now want to tell the height. So an easy way to do that is to click on two lines. So you can click on this line up here, and then you can click on the line down here. And then just make sure to move your cursor outside, click, and that'll allow you to dimension the height of the overall object. Since it's made out of two rectangles, that's the easiest way to dimension it. So you can make that one be also 37.5 millimeters. Now we just want to get rid of this little line segment here. So you can go over to what looks like a pair of scissors. It's called trim. This will allow us to just delete that part of the line. So you can just hover over the line, click it, and then you can see there's no more line there. And now this is our sketch. So we're all done with this part of the sketch. So you want to click the check mark to confirm that sketch. And now you can see you have a 2D drawing that we can use to create shapes. So in order to make this be 3D, we want to go over to, right next to the sketch is this cube, which is the extrude cube. You want to click on that, and now it opens up a menu for the extrusions. So it's saying select the face that you want to extrude. So we'll just select the L that we just created. So you can see it's extruding out here. Right now it's extruding 25 millimeters, but we only want it to extrude 3 millimeters. So you can type that in, and then you can see it's extruding upwards. So we have a simple L shape right here, but for a bracket we want to have holes to screw it in. So we'll need to add on those holes. So in order to do that, we want to select sketch again. And then now for the sketch plane, instead of selecting the top face, we want to select the top face of the L we created. So you can sketch on top of the L part. And so once you click on that, now it'll say face of extrude 1 up here. And we have a new face to sketch onto. So in order to do this, we'll want to create a pattern of holes. So first you want to go, instead of using a box, we want to do the center point circle. And then in order to align this, we want to do it in in the corner right here. So you can go to this line right here, and then travel up along here until you reach the middle, and then head over to the right. And then you want to also align with the center of this, so you'll hover along it until you find the center, and then travel down. And this will have two lines that'll show you exactly where the center in that corner is, and you can just click and create a circle there. And this circle, we want to dimension this circle to be 3 millimeters. So just use the same dimension tool and just click on the outside. You don't want to click on the center. And now we have a singular circle, but we want a pattern of circles. So in order to do that, we'll use the pattern tool. So the pattern tool is this series of boxes up right here in the top bar called linear pattern. So you just click on that. And then now we want to, in order to create the pattern, click on the circle, so it's outside of it. And then it gives you some arrows that you can use to create the pattern. So this one, we want to create patterns horizontally. So you can just flip it that direction. And then you want to set the spacing between the holes to be 7.5 millimeters. And if it's the wrong direction, just click on the arrow and it'll flip it to the other side. And click to confirm that. And right here, it's only doing 3 holes. So this box, you can double click on it in order to edit it, and then bump this up to 4 holes, since that's what we want on our bracket. And so now we have our horizontal holes, but we'll also want some holes going up vertically. So you can click on linear pattern again, click on the circle, and we don't want them going horizontally, so we want to set the count horizontally to just be 1. And then our vertical count, we want to set this to be 4. And then they're way too far apart, so we can click on this dimension right here, double click on it to edit it, and then do 7.5. And you can see now we have vertical holes going upwards. And this line, you can just ignore this line. So we have all our holes outlined here. So now that we have the holes ready, we can confirm this sketch. And you can see we have a series of circles drawn on here where our holes are going to be. Now, in order to create those holes, we need to use the extrude tool again. So we'll click on extrude. And then an easy way to select every one of these, we could go individually and select each one, but that's pretty hard. And it'll take a while, especially if you have a lot of holes. So an easier way is just go over to your sketch 2 and just click on it in this bar here. And now select every single element on there, which is, in this case, every single hole we have drawn. And now this is adding to it, but we don't want to add material, we want to remove it. So you can toggle between new, add, remove, and intersect. So you want to click on remove. And now you can see this is drilling holes through and removing the material where we drew those circles. So you can just leave it at 25, it doesn't matter, as long as it's long enough in order to go through our part all the way, and just confirm this extrude. And now we have our bracket with all the holes in it, and we'll just do a few tidying up parts in order to make this look a little better. So first thing, this sharp angle, it's not very strong, so we'll add on a chamfer. So you can go up here and you can see this box with the corner cut off, that's chamfer. Click on that, and what this will do is this will create a small angle on the corner in order to make it be a little stronger. So you can just go in here, and on your part, you just want to look and select this line right here. So there's a little corner line in here. Just click on that. And then you want to make sure that distance is 10 millimeters here. Changing this will make it go farther or less. You want to make sure it's 10. And then it should be like that. And then just confirm that once you're done. And then any sharp corners we want to round. So we'll go over to fillet. And then select this edge here. This edge right here. This edge right here. This edge right here. And then you'll need to rotate in order to see that edge right here, this edge right here, this edge over here, and then that is all of our edges. And then for this one, what you'll need to change in order to change the size of it is this radius. You can make the radius really big, but we don't want it very big, so you can set this to be 2 millimeters. Actually, we'll do 3. That'll be a little smoother. And just confirm this. And so that's a fillet, and the fillet rounds off all of our corners, so it's real nice and smooth, doesn't have any sharp parts and makes it a lot easier to make if you were to actually make this component. So now you have your part in here that is a bracket that can be used to assemble parts together. Sort of like, we'll throw up an example on the screen here, but very simple part, but is a very useful way to get a handle on how to create parts using extrudes and sketches in Onshape.